Hugh Glass was a mountain man whose notoriety and fame was born as a result of a traumatic encounter with a constant foe of mountain men, the grizzly bear. That confrontation and resulting consequence for Glass has become such a renowned tale that movies have been made about the story, the most recent being The Revenant, released in 2015. Hugh Glass was born in 1783 in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Much of his early life is mostly undocumented and not totally verifiable. However, much has been written about his life as a result of his encounter with the grizzly bear and subsequent life events. Consequently, there is some information about his younger years. He was reported to have been captured by famous pirate Jean Lafitte and spent 2 years of servitude prior to escaping off the coast of Texas in 1818. His escape included a long swim to the coast near modern-day Galveston. He was later captured by Pawnee Indians and lived with them for several years. In 1821, he traveled to St. Louis with Pawnee delegates who were invited to meet with authorities of the U.S. government. He remained in St. Louis, and in 1822, Glass, along with many other men, responded to an ad in the St. Louis newspaper placed by William Henry Ashley for a corps of 100 men to travel up the Missouri River as part of a fur trapping and trading venture. Ashley assembled his group of adventurers and trappers to head up the Missouri River toward the fertile trapping grounds of the northern Rocky Mountains. The group, known as Ashley's 100, included many men who would become famous mountain men, to include James Beckwourth, John Fitzgerald, David Jackson, William Sublette, Jim Bridger, Thomas Fitzpatrick, and Jedediah Smith. Glass, along with several other trappers under the command of Ashley's partner Andrew Henry, split from the larger group and headed overland toward the Yellowstone River. Near the forks of the Grand River in present-day Perkins County, South Dakota, Glass left the main party to do some scouting and hunting alone. Henry tried to keep his small band of men in close proximity of each other for safety purposes, but Glass was an independent spirit and often strayed from the company. Jim Kleiman, a fellow trapper, wrote in his journal in September 1823 that, quote, "A Mr. Hugh Glass, who could not be restrained, went off the line of march one afternoon and met with a grizzly bear, which he shot and wounded." End quote. The wounded grizzly descended upon his adversary in a flash and began to maul him unmercilessly. Hearing Hugh's cries for help, the other mountain men ran as fast as they could to his aid and shot the large bear to death, but the damage had already been done. The men were sure that Hugh Glass's life would surely end in short order, but he did not die immediately, so they continued on their journey and carried him on a litter for 2 days as he hung on to dear life. Seeing that the grueling task of transporting a severely wounded man was slowing the group to an unacceptable pace, Henry asked for 2 volunteers to stay behind and then catch up with the group when their comrade was dead and buried. Young Jim Bridger and John Fitzgerald volunteered to stay with Glass until he died. The strong-willed injured man hung on day after day, and finally the 2 caretakers decided to leave him to die on his own. To make matters worse, Fitzgerald took his rifle and remaining supplies. It is strongly speculated that Fitzgerald, the older and more experienced man, persuaded Bridger to go along with the plan. During his long and storied career as a mountain man, Bridger never again showed attributes that would have indicated that he would be a party to such a decision. Most historians believe that his youth and inexperience were the contributing factors that led to this unfortunate event in his life. Despite his horrific injuries, Glass was able to recover enough to begin an incredible journey that would eventually save his life and catapult him into fame. The trip began on hands and knees and proceeded at a snail's pace until the unfortunate traveler was able to get upright and start painstakingly walking. He survived on roots, a rattlesnake he killed, and the carcass of a wolf-killed elk. It is not completely clear how he made the 200-mile trek to Fort Kiowa, but complete the trip he did. There are two theories that seem most logical regarding the trip. One says that a band of friendly Sioux Indians befriended him and aided his journey. The other theory is that he fashioned a crude raft and made it downstream via water. Either way, it is an incredible adventure to ponder. Upon arriving at Fort Kiowa, he learned that neither Bridger nor Fitzgerald remained at the fort. After a few weeks of recuperation, he headed out once again with revenge as his motivation. He eventually found the Henry party at a camp at the mouth of the Bighorn River. There he encountered Bridger, who he forgave because of his youth and probably his sense that the young mountain man was an honorable man who didn't deserve the fate Glass originally intended. He was also successful in his quest to locate Fitzgerald. He wasn't able to mete out his intended justice for the terrible deed Fitzgerald had perpetrated against him. Fitzgerald had joined the army, and Glass tracked him down at Fort Atkinson in present-day Nebraska. Even though he intended to kill Fitzgerald, he was thwarted in that endeavor due to the ex-mountain man being in the army. The commander at Fort Atkinson did return Glass's rifle, and Glass warned Fitzgerald that he would kill him if he ever left the army. He eventually returned to trapping beaver. He was killed with two other trappers in 1833 on the Yellowstone River by a party of Arikara Indians. A monument stands today near the site of the bear mauling on the southern shore of the Shade Hill Reservoir in Perkins County, South Dakota, at the forks of the Grand River. Nearby the Hugh Glass Lakeside Use Area is a free state-managed campground and picnic area. If you enjoyed this video, give a thumbs up, make a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching.